tough couple of games. Anytime you see a team back-to-back, it's a tough matchup because by the time you get to that second game, again, there are no secrets. Guys aren't fans of each other. We've seen time and time again how tough it is to sweep a team back-to-back. So, the team that gets the victory the first night can't necessarily be too comfortable when it comes time for the second game. And there's a quick turnaround, 7:30 game Friday, quick. 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So that always presents a series of challenges as well. So, big couple of games coming up here against the Adirondack, who's a couple of spots ahead of the Monsters in the Western Conference race right now.
Yeah, what you just said, that was in my notes there. That's double tough, man. You play, it's a contact sport, and you're playing a late-night game the night before and then getting up and playing an afternoon game the next day. That can lead to some aggression because there's got to be some less than chipper individuals for that Saturday afternoon game. Have you found, do they tend to be a bit more aggressive when they've got those turnarounds like that just by human nature?
There are a lot of different tendencies I've noticed in those games. Sometimes you do get some of that attention. Sometimes you get into the second game and it ends up being, more of a slowed down, just a basic style, fundamental style guys really sticking to the basics and just not wanting to give up a whole lot because there is that fatigue factor too. You have to be wise. You have to be smart about how you expend your energy in those situations because these guys are going to finish a game at 7:30. Game is going to end at about 10 o'clock, maybe 10:15, depending on if the game goes to overtime on Friday. And these guys are going to be right back at the arena probably by 11 a.m. to get ready for a 1 o'clock game the following day. I mean, that is not 13 hours between when back to the arena. So you have to really be smart about how you use that time, not only when you're preparing for the game, not only when you're playing the game, but in that window in between. You got to get back, put your feet up, and get the most of your rest, but also get a lot of food in you. That's one of the things I always find interesting talking to these guys about is how you set yourself up for a 3-game and 3-night weekend, or in this case, a 1 game and a day and a half stretch, or 2 games in a day and a half stretch, I should say. The way everybody's got their own things that work for them. When you get to that second game, like I say, you might see a little bit different style because of the fact that these guys will be just trying to conserve a little bit.
Puck drops 7:30 Friday night, and as you said, right back at it 1 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Monsters at the Q, hosting Adirondack, and Doug Plagens will call the action. For those of you that can't be down there on the radio, and I'm not sure if it's on TV or not, but
not this weekend.
Okay, on the radio this week.
But you can always watch and listen to every game on AHL Live as well, which is a pretty cool feature through the American Hockey League.
Absolutely. There you go. AHL Live. Actually, I watched a few games last season that way. It works out well, too. But anyways, this weekend, 7:30 Friday, 1 p.m. on Saturday, Doug Plagens calling the action, and then we'll talk a little bit, catch up about it next week. I saw your power, Plagens, by the way, on your article on the website this week, man. I see you're trying to decide between video game systems, man. I'm just going to say, I lean towards the PlayStation, but,
I was leaning toward the PS4 as well myself. But then this game, Sunset Overdrive, I saw the trailer for it, and it came out about a week and a half or so ago, where a contaminated energy drink turns everybody into mutants, and you have to go and defend this fictional city. And I will admit, I am not a big non-sports game guy, but I really was digging the feel of that game.
See, that's where I'm at too. It's mostly sports games for me. I can say that I've played so far. I haven't played anything in the hockey realm yet, but I have played the baseball franchise, the basketball, and the football on the PS4. Man, it's definitely not your parents' video game anymore. That's for sure. We
got the new wrestling game coming out, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
too.
Next week, and that's like next gen level too. I mean, I'll tell you what. I saw some preview videos of that, and they put side by side of like the real thing and then the video game thing, and it's like, wow. I mean, more power to
it's unbelievable
that they can do. But I don't know if you've seen, totally off the topic, man, the new Call of Duty. I don't play hardly anything that's not a sports related game, but man, that one I was like, that looks pretty incredible. It's amazing what they can do with that stuff,
It's just crazy because I might. I'm 29, and I grew up with the 8-bit Nintendo, and then it was a big deal to advance to a Sega Genesis, and then make the station. I had a Sega Dreamcast in there, a PS2. But I'm going to throw that phrase out there. Kids these days, I mean, they're going to have no idea what it's like to remember, an 8-bit Nintendo where your sports game didn't have all the players' names in it, and you couldn't play a season, and you didn't have all these additional modes, and you didn't have all these graphics, and we were just thrilled to be able to find that warp whistle in Mario 3 and be able to skip a level. But now these games are just incredible, and I think that's what's keeping people from our generation still playing video games. We grew up with them, and we've seen the progression. I think a lot of us, can really appreciate it as time goes on, and as we see the progression in the technology.
And they've gotten so realistic that literally, we talk about this a lot in the NFL, especially. They'll use those simulations. They'll play them out to see. Just because the AI is so close to realistic, they'll see how certain concepts work, and they'll, I'm not saying they form their strategy, but there's many a coach that say that the usage of artificial simulations like with Madden really do play a part in how they structure things with their game planning, because it is so realistic. I think back to, you say 8-bit, it's not the same as a Tecmo Bowl. Ready, down, hut.
The Tecmo Bowl that I believe had, 12 teams in it?
Yeah, Bo Jackson run over everybody, and that was, man, I'll tell you, I loved being the Browns in the old Tecmo Bowl. You had like Bernie Kosar and Ice Cube McNeil, and every team had 4 plays. 4 plays, man. 2 running plays and 2 passing plays, brother, and that was it, man. And the other team had a 25% odds of guessing your play and just blowing through your line and blowing up your play. That's the old.
And the arms on the quarterbacks in those games, you could throw it from the back of one end zone and somehow overthrow the other end zone if you did it right.
Oh man! And hockey and football, they were all the same. It was just moving little fake people with dots that traveled like they were the ball. It was the things that.
Do you remember ice hockey? Do you remember ice hockey?
Yes.
Where you had 4 guys, and there was like skinny guy, medium guy, and big fat guy.
Yes, man, I love it.
And the big guy just decimated everybody.
I think the first really good hockey game that I remember playing was when PlayStation finally did it, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is how you play it. And then I played the first time last year on the next gen, and that's again another level. You play the NHL games on the next gen system, you're like, wow, this is something. As we sat here now and turned off everybody over the age of 35 who said, man, these guys are sitting here talking about playing video games, but I don't have a lot of time to do it. But when I do appreciate it, because like you said, man, shoot, the kids on the phones nowadays, the apps, those games are better than the 8-bit stuff that we. Well,
we've seen the evolution. We can appreciate how far these things have come, and I think even if you're not a video game guy, I think you can look at these things and just think, wow, this is how far things have come in this realm. I mean, we all played Duck Hunt with that orange gun.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you got it, man. And to this day, I still love any kind of those interactive shooters like the old Duck Hunt, man. And what's so funny is now the modern video games come out, and what do people want to do? They buy the Wii so they can download Super Mario Brothers and play that old 1986 game all over again. That's what's so funny about it, man. Doug Plagens, voice of the Monsters when he's not playing video games or talking to us here on the Sports Fix. Doug, have a great week. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll catch up next week and talk about it.
Sounds like a plan. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for having me, as always.
Thanks for being here. As always, Doug Plagens. You guys can tweet with him at Doug Plagens. And, hey, man, I got no shame in my game. I do occasionally enjoy the next-gen video game system, that's for sure. But I do it for, research purposes, of course. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Guys, great show again today, man. A loaded show. Tomorrow, same thing. We're heading into the weekend, just looking ahead. Of course, Jonathan Knight, sports writer extraordinary. I can't wait to talk to JK. We've had some fun conversations this week talking about the Browns and compared different eras and different. We've had some fun conversations, and we'll probably have some of that on the air here tomorrow. Preview time. Heading into the weekend, you got Houston on tap. Jeff Gorman from Browns101.com. He'll be here tomorrow with the preview of the scouting report of the Houston Texans. We'll talk to Ryan Ruiz. He's back after 2 weeks from Dog Pound Nation. Ryan will have the 3 dog bones to a Browns victory. We'll do all of that we do here, the Friday stuff, looking ahead to all the games and matchups this weekend. We'll see who wins the MVP award there in baseball. I got to say, it's probably looking at Trout. I think we know that. But anyways, we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. And there's some Thursday night football tonight. Really kind of a low-key night before a lot of things kick back in tomorrow. Cavs will get back at it. Monsters, as we were talking about tonight. Let's see, looking across the slate. Yeah, you've got some hockey going on tonight. A few NBA games. Cavs aren't playing, not a whole lot. And you got Thursday night football. We mentioned it earlier. Buffalo and Miami tonight, kicking off this week's slate of games. So a slow night, but tomorrow we're going to get it cooking heading into the weekend. So come on back here. Same bad time, same bad channel. You know how we do it, live at noon right here on the Sports Fix. Until then, you guys, have a great night. Tell somebody to join you here tomorrow. You know what, real quick, before I go, I did want to mention something. And I think I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but I want to mention it because we're going to get heavy on the football tomorrow, and just in case I don't, I was doing some show prep today, and the show just kind of never left me a window to get into this, and I'll pick this up tomorrow. But, Michelle Roberts, the new NBA Players Director of the Union, already, making history by being elected first female union chief in North American sports. But let me tell you, this woman's not playing around, man. I've read a couple of articles on the strategy that she's building here, and I love it for our sports talk fodder purposes, because anytime millionaires and billionaires are fighting over millions and billions of dollars, it's always an ugly thing in the public. But let me tell you, they're getting ready to buckle down, and they want to change. They want to change the game in basketball. I mean, when her first quote is, "Why don't the owners play half the games if they're half as important as the players?" There's no money without the players. 30 owners can come and 30 owners can go. This game changes without the players. It's time to stop pretending. And she went on and on. I'm telling you, I'm impressed, but I'm like, wow, man, basketball better buckle in for a collective bargaining fight here coming up, because they're not going to play. They don't want a salary cap anymore. They don't want rookie caps on the rookie contracts anymore. They don't want the age limit anymore, and she's litigated for her whole life, and she's ready to litigate here like it's up against the Supreme Court. I mean, I read a couple of things here, and then again, we're running out of time. I'll talk about it more here tomorrow and going forward, but look into some of this. I know ESPN had a story up this morning. Michelle Roberts is her name. She's the new director of the NBA Players Union, but you can see a lot of line in the sand statements. Now, a lot of that you do on purpose now, because it leaves room for negotiation later. You act like you're not going to budge, and then you budge, and it looks like you changed when really you were planning on giving that to them the whole time. So, yeah, some of that is going to be this. But you listen to some of these statements, and you go, well, let me tell you something. That's not flying with some of these owners, and what these owners want is not flying with the new head of the Players Association. This is going to change basketball right here. And that could be interesting with all that money that they make. Watching guys fight over how to split it up always makes you a little bit queasy in the stomach. We'll talk some more about that, you guys. We'll talk about the Cavs too tomorrow as they get back in action. A lot to do, so let's do it right here, live at noon on the Sports Fix and the Sports Fix Radio Network. We love you, Cleveland. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Fix.
Survivals on my street.